The world does not hand greatness to the man who waits for permission. It does not whisper encouragement when you're on your knees, bruised, beaten, bloody. No, it tests you in silence. It surrounds you with doubt. It cloaks the road in fog so thick that only the man who refuses to quit can see through it. And in that moment when everything seems to crumble, that's when the story begins. Because life, in its rawest form, does not reward the easy path. It exalts the comeback, and every setback, every failure, every betrayal, every loss is a page written not to end you, but to harden your resolve. You don't rise in the absence of pain, you rise because of it. You rise because something inside you refuses to stay buried. The world remembers Edison not because he avoided failure, but because he wore 10,000 failures like armor. He didn't curse the darkness, he invented the light. That is the power of one man whose soul burned brighter than the doubts around him. That is what happens when defeat becomes fuel, and in that same furnace of resistance, every great name you admire was forged. Carnegie, who built an empire from sweat and steel, did not start with wealth, he started with will. He grew up poor in a shack with no comfort, no shortcuts, but he had something far more valuable than money, clarity, a vision so potent that no setback could seduce him into surrender. Do you hear what I'm telling you? The pain is not punishment. It is preparation. You were not chosen for an easy path. You were chosen for greatness. And that greatness demands something rare, not just talent, not just dreams, but the kind of persistence that survives droughts, ridicule, bankruptcy, heartbreak, and still keeps coming, still keeps swinging, still keeps believing. When Lincoln faced defeat after defeat, lost elections, the death of his beloved business collapses, he didn't fold. He grew deeper, he grew steadier, because setbacks, when embraced, forge depth. And depth is what sustains greatness when the spotlight fades and the silence grows loud. Do not envy the man who succeeds on his first attempt. That man may taste victory, but he will never understand it. He will never own it. He will never be rooted in it. But the one who's been dragged through the trenches, who's faced the wolves and the storms and the betrayal of his own doubts, that man doesn't just rise. He reigns, and you, yes, you are being sculpted for something higher. The weight you carry, the resistance you face, the uncertainty clawing at your confidence, it's not here to stop you. It's here to sculpt you. Like Michelangelo chiseling David from lifeless stone, every strike against you is a cut closer to your masterpiece. You must learn to bless the struggle. You must learn to trust the pressure, for diamonds are born in fire. And you, my friend, are in the fire, but you are not alone. Every legend you've ever admired has walked through this crucible. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Jobs was fired from the company he built. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Ford was laughed at by the elites, and yet they kept moving, not because it was easy, but because they understood a sacred truth. Every setback plants the seeds of a mighty return. So don't you dare hang your head. Don't you dare measure your value by the opinions of the blind. The world may not see it yet, but inside you is a fire that will not die, a comeback so strong that the echoes of your rise will drown out the silence of your suffering. Keep going, keep pushing, keep believing not in the comfort of success, but in the certainty that every fall is fertilizing your foundation. This is not the end. It never was. You were born for the comeback. There comes a time when belief must become more than a word, when it must evolve into fire, not flickering but blazing, the kind of belief that doesn't ask for guarantees, that doesn't need applause, that doesn't rely on evidence. Because if your belief needs proof, it will crumble in the dark. But if your belief is forged in silence, in the absence of applause, in the face of closed doors, then it becomes a force no one can contain. Clarity is the sword in your hand, belief is the fire in your chest, and vision is the compass that keeps you from wandering off into mediocrity. And vision, true vision, is not given, it's built. It's built in the trenches. In the moments when your mind screams quit, when your bank account says you're broke, when the voices around you laugh and point and call it delusion, let them laugh, let them doubt. That's part of the preparation. Because the comeback isn't just about proving others wrong, it's about proving your former self wrong. It's about stepping into the version of you that didn't bow to fear, that didn't flinch in the storm, that didn't surrender his destiny for the comfort of excuses. Walt Disney drew cartoons in a rat-infested apartment, borrowing nickels to feed himself while pitching dreams the world laughed at. But vision doesn't depend on circumstance. Vision transcends circumstance. He saw castles while living in shadows. That's what makes a visionary. Not the resources you start with, but the faith that refuses to let go of the picture in your mind, even when the world sees nothing. And let's speak plainly now, you will be alone sometimes. That's the cost. Vision isolates before it elevates. You will outgrow people. You will be misunderstood, but don't let loneliness lie to you. It's not abandonment, it's alignment. You're being separated, not rejected. You're being recalibrated to the frequency of your calling. When Henry Ford was ridiculed for imagining an automobile that could reach every working man, they called him foolish. But Ford didn't let their ignorance dictate his actions. He pressed forward, because true visionaries act as if what they imagine is already real. They walk as if the unseen is more real than what others accept as truth. And in time, the world catches up. So ask yourself, are you building your comeback on comfort or clarity, on opinion or vision? Because if your foundation is weak, the pressure will crush you. But if your foundation is purpose, real, soul, level purpose, no storm can break you. And yes, storms are coming. Life doesn't test the weak, it tests the worthy. You're not in a setback. You're in the forge. You're not being punished. You're being purified. You must see it before you live it. Picture it every single day, not with wishful thinking, but with ruthless precision. Visualize not only the victory, but the steps, the sweat, the discipline. Feel it so intensely that it becomes inevitable. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. And clarity comes when you stop asking for easy and start demanding excellence from yourself. When you stop trying to escape the pain and start using it like fuel. The comeback doesn't happen when the conditions are perfect. It begins the moment you say, no more. No more excuses. No more playing small. No more waiting for signs. The sign is the setback. It's your cue. It's the universe stripping away what was never meant to stay, so you can become who you were born to be. Let your mind see beyond the wreckage. Let it see through the ashes to the empire you're building. That's the beginning of transformation, not when you escape the fire, but when you become it. And from that fire, a new you rises, not weaker, not broken, but clarified, sharper, simpler, bolder, because now you don't move based on mood or outcome, you move on mission. Mission doesn't flinch, it doesn't seek comfort, it doesn't beg for praise. Mission moves in silence, commits in darkness, and conquers in broad daylight. And when the world finally sees what you've built, what you've become, they'll call it sudden. They'll call it lucky, but you'll know the truth. It was written in every setback. Discipline is the bridge between your vision and your victory. Not excitement, not motivation. Discipline. The unglamorous, unseen, uncelebrated grind of doing what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. You want to talk about comebacks? Then let's talk about what makes them possible. It's not some Hollywood flash of fate. It's the daily decision to rise when your body begs to rest. It's waking up with empty pockets but a full heart. It's showing up with no applause, no guarantee, no shortcut, just fire in your chest and steel in your spine. Muhammad Ali didn't become the greatest by training when it was convenient. He became the greatest because he trained while others slept. He said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's the kind of mentality that builds comebacks so mighty even time bends to their legend. Because here's the truth, most people want the victory but flee the process. They want the glow but avoid the grind. But discipline is the price you pay for greatness. And if you're not willing to pay in advance, don't expect the universe to deliver. Your future isn't being written in the moments of praise, it's being carved in silence. In the sweat, dripping, doubt-crushing, soul-testing moments when no one is watching, those moments count more than any public celebration ever will, and every time you act in alignment with your mission, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. One rep at a time, one decision at a time, one battle with the inner critic at a time. This is where legends are made not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. You think David slayed Goliath with luck. No, he spent years in the fields alone mastering his craft. The slingshot that brought down the giant was not fate. It was preparation. It was relentless practice when no one cared. That's what gave him power in the moment that mattered. So, what are you practicing when no one's watching? Are you feeding your mind with greatness or garbage? Are you fueling your body with energy or excuses? Are you focused like a sniper or scattered like dust in the wind? Because life doesn't reward the distracted. It rewards the disciplined. And when that discipline collides with action, consistent, courageous, uncompromising action, your comeback becomes inevitable. Action is what transforms hope into history. You can dream all day, but until your hands move, until your feet move, until your calendar becomes a reflection of your destiny, you're still sleepwalking. There is no comeback without bold action. You don't wait your way into success. You don't wish your way into wealth. You build your way forward, one brick at a time, with calloused hands and unwavering intent. And yes, fear will show up, doubt will whisper, but let them come. Because if you're not facing resistance, you're not climbing. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal that you're stepping into the unknown, into growth, into expansion. Let it sharpen you, not shrink you. When the Wright brothers stared down gravity, they didn't let fear win. They kept building, kept flying, kept crashing until they rose. That's what you must do, rise. Rise again, and again, and again. There is no limit to the number of times you can start over as long as you start over stronger, as long as you start over smarter, as long as you refuse to carry the chains of defeat into your next act. Because that's what a comeback truly is, not a return to what was, but a rebirth into something greater, something forged, something unstoppable, and it's happening now with every disciplined step. With every action taken in the face of fear, with every ounce of energy you pour into your vision you are becoming. And now we arrive at the edge of the fire, the turning point, the moment when the echoes of doubt fall silent, and all that remains is the sound of your breath. Steady, determined, alive, this is where the comeback becomes real, not because the world gave you a green light, not because the odds shifted in your favor, but because you made a decision, the kind of decision that splits time, that redraws your story, that shakes the ground you walk on. You are not who you were, you are not the mistake, you are not the fall, you are the rise. Every failure you've endured was a forge, every betrayal a blade sharpening your clarity, every rejection a redirection toward your purpose. And every time you were underestimated, it was just more weight added to your crown. There is no crown without the cross, no glory without the grind, no comeback without the chaos. You want your name remembered. Burn it into the pages of time by refusing to break. Henry Ford was laughed at by bankers, dismissed by engineers, betrayed by partners, but he didn't quit. He built an empire when no one believed because he believed. That belief moved steel. That belief moved men. That belief turned ideas into engines and dreams into dynasties. And you have that same power, because belief is not some passive idea. It's a force. A declaration, a spiritual battering ram that says, this is who I am and this is what I will create no matter the pain, no matter the pressure, no matter the past. Let them doubt, let them walk away. Let the odds stack like mountains. You will climb, because now you understand. Every setback was sculpting something inside you that ease never could. Every delay was chiseling away the weak parts. Every detour was preparing you for the exact stage where you'll now dominate. This is your comeback not because it's comfortable, but because you're ready. You've been tested, tempered, tried by fire, and what remains is pure. What remains is real. What remains is you unshaken, unafraid, and undeniable. You no longer need the world's permission. You are the permission. You no longer chase validation. You walk in purpose. You no longer beg for chances. You create them. You command them. And if they still don't believe in you, good, let them watch. Let them see the ashes. Let them remember how it all looked like it was over. Then let them see the smoke rise. Let them hear the footsteps echo across the ruins. And then let them witness the comeback. The one they never saw coming, the one you always knew was inevitable, because it's not over, it never was. It was only the beginning of the fire. Now burn bright, now rise, now return not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. The comeback is here, and it's you. There's a secret the world won't tell you because the world is obsessed with noise, with speed, with the illusion of progress. But here it is. The comeback is accelerated not just by fire and fight, but by gratitude, yes, gratitude, not as some soft feel. Good concept, but as a weapon. Gratitude sharpens your perception. It turns setbacks into schooling. It turns losses into leverage. It keeps your heart anchored while the storm screams. It reminds you that even when life takes everything, it cannot take your ability to respond, to grow, to rise. Lincoln understood this. In the midst of unimaginable grief, political humiliation, and a fractured nation, he returned again and again to a deep sense of purpose and gratitude. Gratitude for the fight, gratitude for the responsibility, gratitude for the chance to rise and lead, even when his soul was torn. Because here's what few understand: gratitude doesn't ignore the pain. It repositions it. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means declaring that everything is fuel. You lost the job. Good, now you're free to build the business. They walked away. Good, now your energy isn't divided. You hit rock bottom. Good, now you're standing on the bedrock. Now you can build. Gratitude flips the narrative. It turns victims into victors. It rewires the brain to see opportunity in the ashes. It says, this wasn't the plan, but I'm grateful, because now I get to test my limits. Now I get to discover how powerful I really am. And once your mind is flooded with that kind of mental alchemy, once gratitude shifts your energy, you become adaptable. Adaptability is one of the most lethal advantages in the world. The rigid break, the flexible rise. Carnegie didn't start with wealth, he morphed. He adapted to industry shifts. He learned, he absorbed. He transformed. He was a student long before he was a giant. And that's the next key to your comeback. Be the student, not the critic, not the victim, not the spectator, the student. Adaptable minds are never defeated for long. Because they pivot, they evolve. They don't cry over closed doors, they build new ones. You must be willing to let go of who you were, the outdated version, the egoic shell, the identity that kept you stuck. You must shed it like dead skin. The world is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to evolve. Your setback is your classroom. Your pain is your professor. But the question is, are you listening? You don't need everything to go right. You need to respond when everything goes wrong. That's where resilience is born, and resilience is not some rare gift, it's a decision, a moment-by-moment choice to bend without breaking, to walk when your legs shake, to speak life when your mind screams defeat. Resilience isn't about feeling nothing, it's about feeling everything and moving anyway. It's Thomas Edison trying over 10, 0, zero times to invent the light bulb, and when asked if he had failed, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10 ways that won't work." That's not stubbornness. That's vision married to resilience. That's the mindset that doesn't die with one no, that doesn't collapse from one loss, that doesn't care how long it takes because the outcome is already written in the heart. So ask yourself now, not in comfort, not in convenience, but in the chaos, will I bend? Or will I rise? Will I bow? Or will I build? Because right here, right now, in the ashes of your setback, a comeback is waiting to be born. And it's not waiting for permission, it's waiting for you.